Shalom. Welcome to another episode of Claim Your Inheritance. I'm your host, Nazir Dubai, your old Yasharal. I'm the Crown Prince of Israel, keyboard warrior. I know what the Bible says to do, and I do it. Let's find something interesting to learn today. I think we should go to back to the Twitter conversation here and read some of these things. Let's see here. Uh-huh. Hmm. There it is. So, in the previous episodes, we have learned quite a bit. We learned that Israel still has an inheritance intact in the form of gold, diamonds, platinum, silver, other precious metals, and art. Okay. This was collected, over the years by our family. Started with Abraham. Abraham may or may not have inherited uh, uh, wealth from his father, but I think he did. Not too sure. Um, but of course, Abraham's wealth transferred to Isaac. Isaac's wealth transferred to Jacob. Jacob's wealth transferred to his sons. Joseph became the Pharaoh of Egypt and amassed a fortune as well. That transferred to his children, Ephraim and Manasseh, and the brothers just maintained their wealth the best they could over the years and passed it on down their family lines. Okay, so now the majority of that was collected by David and Solomon into the treasury whenever the first temple was built by Solomon. Okay, and then he continued to get paid tribute in the amount of 25. I think it was. I have to look it up. 25,000 pounds of gold a year from around the world, and he was also mining himself. That fortune passed on in throughout the Davidic line. Surely some of it uh, ended up in the Solomon line, down his seed line, undoubtedly. Maybe or maybe not. I'm not too sure. So and that continued on, and undoubtedly the our wonderful son and wonderful father Hamashiach knew about this fortune and decided to be poor for our sakes. Uh, More than likely, he did that because he knew that his time on earth would be short. Okay, so I mean, and also he wanted us to realize that uh, wealth is vanity, and you know, it was not a necessity for him because he had other things to do. He had to go and build the third temple that is, from my studies, will be landing on the earth. So that's how that goes. Now that fortune is still intact. Let's see here. in the about 900, in the 900s, the Mongol. I don't know how it ended up in the hands of a king by the name of Bernardo Carpio, um, but it was in the 900s during the Dark Ages. So uh, imagining and suspecting that he may be a black man. All right. So once it got into the hands of Bernardo Carpio, uh, the gold was raided by the Mongols and Asians and China. Okay, who of course had Israelites all in there, and many Mongolians are Israelites. I mean, the original Chinese were black, the original Asians were black, and the original Mongols were black. So in that time frame, with the obscure, conveniently obscure history of that time frame, I can pretty much determine that it was Israelites who raided that fortune. Then they came over to the Americas and other Asian lands and conquered other Asian lands with the fortune that they had. I guess just like today, that money is the motivation for people to do things and for people to work and for an army to work and things like this. Then the same thing held true back then in those times. So they would pay, their army with gold and things like that. See, I'm not a full-fledged historian, so but I can imagine that's how armies and things got paid. So that's what we saw and learned in this series. And they took over many lands, and they also came to the Americas and mixed with the Israelites who were already here. Now, there were also other nations here in ISRAELITE, okay? And those were the Hittites, who were white people. They're commonly referred to as the Tall Reds by by historians, because they were, about 9 feet tall or 8 feet tall, which is considered a giant today. And they had red hair. Okay, so that is the one of the other nations that were here. Let me see here. I don't know for certain what other nations were here, but beside those two. So you had the Israelites who came here in 650 BC that have been here ever since, or now called Native Americans. Then you have the Hittites, and you have the Mongols, who were clearly Israelites as well. Okay, so now they look kind of traditionally Asian that we're used to seeing, and also they could be mixed with Japheth, is why they look so Chinese like that. And from my studies, Japheth carries the trait of the serpent seed that mixed with humans pre-flood. So all those are kind of speculative issues, but I had to figure out why Asians have very slanted eyes, and since evolution is completely imaginary, I had to determine that there were other races of life other than humans, and I call that the serpent race. They're the alien watch community know of about maybe 40 or 50 different alien races who have visited Earth from time to time. and there are documentations and reports of these things from various cultures all over the world. Now, the Native Americans and all throughout Africa would call these people the Serpent Brothers because they had a serpentine look to them. They had a snakish looking look to them. Their body and their face were snake looking. There have also been recent reports of that race, and they are the ones who commonly mate with humans. So that leads me to believe that those are the angels who came and landed on Mount Horeb. I mean, on excuse me, on Mount Hermon, in the amount of 200 angels, and they made a decision and a agreement together to mate with the human wives, and they took whatever human wives that they chose according to the Bible. All right, so that's how that happened. All right. So then when you get to 965, they raided the Israelite fortune from Bernardo Carpio, and it was spread throughout the Asian countries, China, and like I said, all of them would go various places and conquer more land using that fortune. Okay, so after this, um, and around let's see here, sometime later down the line, a gentleman was born who reclaimed the gold from China. Well, apparently, they had a large chunk of the gold, and they had the documents for the gold, and they had the gold in their possession. So, a gentleman by the name of Jose Rizal was that man who reclaimed the gold from China and took it back to the Philippines. All right. So I'm suspecting that he's an Israelite as well, and him being ignorant at that time, joined the Catholic uh, oppression government, the Catholic regime, the Catholic cabal, the Catholic criminals. And he was he was a Jesuit, which is like a you know on the side of the black popes. So now this ignorance has caused our uh, inheritance to be mismanaged and hijacked and stolen, and basically it's kind of difficult to get in contact with the current owner of the gold, who is who did we find out that was Dr. Reverend? Let me look it up right quick. Dr. Reverend somebody. Dr. Reverend hmm, Dr. Reverend huh. I have to find that for you guys. Let's look up here, see if we can find it over here. Okay. I hate for you to be ignorant of this matter. I should have the information memorized by now. Let's see. Jose Rizal. Okay. See, the trust established by Jose Rizal. The trust contains Israel's wealth. They call it the world's wealth, which includes 1,750,000 metric tons of gold, other precious metals, art, gems, and the title to the land in the Philippines. Okay, so you can do the math. Type in 1,750,000 metric tons of gold, and then convert it to the value of it. Type in value. Okay. So by comparison, 5,000 metric tons of gold is $3 trillion. I'm trying to find the guy who currently owns the gold. Okay, it's not in this communication. Maybe I can find it in over here. I got you. Bear with me 1 second. In the last will and testament. It's probably in the last will and testament. Okay, can you guys see that? I don't think you can. Nope. Okay, here we go. This is the last will and testament of Ferdinand Marcos, who put it in the possession of someone, and I'm not talking about Wolfgang Struck, who is the current beneficiary. For anybody who's been paying attention, I'm not talking about him. I know you pay close attention, and you may be thinking of Wolfgang Struck or Karen Hudez, but there is another person who owns it. Wolfgang Struck is just the beneficiary. He's allowed to talk to anyone on earth about it. Huh. Looks like they took it down. Okay, last will and testament. Okay, says freeze. Okay, so we got modify history. Okay, Marcos, dollars. Okay, 1260. Okay, regimes, Philippines. Okay. 1565. Alrighty. All right. When you get a chance, read this too. Last Will and Testament of Ferdinand Marcos. Make sure you spell it right. United Nations General Intention. See here. Okay. Queen Elizabeth. That says King Carl Gerald Ford. And signed Queen Elizabeth. Okay. Committee of 300. Let's see here. 1965. Okay. And victory. Do this. My sister. My sister wants this shirt bad, boy. She's mad at me right now. Okay. Let's find this guy. Judge. Here we go. Hold on. Judge. Is that him? Judge P.O.K. 1983. San assassination of San Aquino Jr. Okay. Economic Global 2000. Filipino. School abolition. Undersigned hereby abolished. All costs. Anthony Santiago Martin. Okay. Well, anyway, is that him? Nope. Okay. Some guy owns it outright, and Wolfgang Struck is the beneficiary over it, with no rights to it. And he teamed up with Karen Hudez, and Karen Hudez is Wolfgang Struck is a German national, and Karen Hudez is some old cranky white lady. All right. So what they did through Karen Hudez was team up with all of Karen Hudez's the Illuminati buddies around the world that run the governments, and they convinced the BRICS nations to take over the banks in order to retrieve the gold from the banks, and then once they have the gold, then they're gonna divvy it up amongst the various governments. In order to extort and oppress even stronger. I mean, that would cause a perfect police state, because they're going to just give all the money to the their military arm. That's where the bulk of money for any government goes to the military and police. And police is just another military. So it's a local military. So they're gonna build up their forces extraordinarily, and then it's gonna be ridiculous. But hopefully by then we'll be in Israel. So they are gonna be having fun, the time of their life, but at their own expense, and at the expense of people who don't listen to Israelites who are telling them exactly what's about to happen in the world here in the next few years, things of that nature. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to look at some of these other links in the Twitter conversation. Okay, see where we were right there. Okay, Amazon. Okay, because we learned about the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2014, and then let's see if they have some reading about it. Looks like they do. Wow, 639 pages. The 113th Congress of the United States of America at the second session begun and held at the city of Washington on Friday, the third day of January 2014. This is an act making consolidation. Let's see what he's talking about here. An act making making consolidated appropriations for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2014, and for other purposes. Okay. Be it enacted, that's very strange that their fiscal year ends in the Jewish fiscal year, because the Jewisher New Year is the end of September and the beginning of October. So it's not just a coincidence. It's just how they do things, because the Jewishers run the United States. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2014. Table of contents. The table of contents of this act is as follows. Short title, Section 1. Section 2 is table of contents. Section 3 is references. Section 4 is explanatory statement. Section 5 is statement of appropriations. Section 6 is availability of funds. Section 7 is technical allowance for estimating differences. Launch of liability extension. Let me see what I'm reading here. Okay. The U.S. Congress required effects of retaliation against World Bank whistleblowers to be eliminated before the disbursements of the U.S. contribution to the World Bank's capital increase, according to the Consolidated Appropriations Act. Okay. The Board of Governors reinstated. Okay. Okay. All right. Division A, Agriculture, Rural Development, Food and Drug Administration, and related agencies, Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Agricultural Programs. Title 2, Conservation Programs. Title 3, Rural Development Programs. Title 4, Domestic Food Programs. Title 5, Foreign Assistance and Related Programs. Title 6, Related Agencies and Food and Drug Administration. Title 7, General Provisions. Okay, so, these are the same programs that our nation needs to implement and put in place. And they're not difficult to do. All you have to do is study, each section separately. You get a number of people together, maybe 30 people max. You don't even need that many people. You can have 5 people do this, but you got like 30 people in a room, and they're studying agriculture, they're studying conservation, rural development, domestic food, foreign assistance and related programs, related agencies, and Food and Drug Administration and general provisions. So, you got those five to 30 people in one room on one accord saying that, okay, we got to put in some work in order to uh, put these programs in place so that our nation can have a viable and maintainable and growable uh, program that that actually works in place for these particular situations. So it's not difficult to do. It might take you know less than a week, maybe it may take 3 to 4 days in order to write these programs up. When you're having a conversation for 8 hours a day, like treating it like a job, and your job is to come up with a program that will help us maintain these particular situations. And of course, we're going to be using the Bible as our guide. So it's going to be very simple to do. Okay. So, I mean, this work here should not be daunted by this type of work, because it's just all it is just nation building is 101. Is very simple to do. Uh, you know, Once you just have people just conversating back and forth about particular things and using Robert rules of order, you know what I'm saying? Someone brings up a motion, someone seconds the motion, and then the motion goes to a vote because it was seconded by someone. So someone comes up with an idea, someone says, "Hey, that's a good idea," by saying, "I second the motion," and then it goes to a vote for the everyone in that is present at the meeting. And then the idea gets voted in or voted out. So when it comes to people imagining, like General Yohana told me that the Israelites are going to vote white people into the nation as if they're blood descendants. However, if you form a committee, and we got maybe 30 of the leaders, or the leader of every school, you got about 40 schools or around just in America alone. So you got about 40 schools in America alone. You got five top officers in each school, including the self-proclaimed king of each school, you know, or maybe you have 12 or 15. You know what I'm saying? Everyone everyone is going to override GOCC, and GOCC won't even show up for that meeting anyway, because he lives, Elder Ricard lives in Egypt. He ain't gonna come here to have a meeting with the top leaders of every school. I even doubt that the leaders of the principals of each school will even get together in one room, because they hate each other so much. But how is anyone going to recognize that you are a wise nation without loving one another? So it just sounds ridiculous to me. Hold on one second. Thank you for calling Israel Home Improvement. Hello? Okay, thanks. Prank call as usual. Now, so that's how that goes. We got to get all the top dogs of every school into one room, and we don't have to talk about doctrine at all. All we need to do is decide on the laws that we're going to put in place, because some people imagine that there is no such thing as capital punishment today. You know what I mean? So that may be a law that gets voted out or in. I don't know. But of course, with any nation, any recognized nation, you must have a law for treason, which law for treason is only punishable by death. So that is part of being a nation according to the standards that are in place today, and they are pretty much biblical. Hold on one second. Okay, so treason is a main law that must be in place, and treason is only punishable by death. So that is a prerequisite to being a recognized nation internationally. The other law is, it fails me right now, but it's simple as well. Okay, so as we're doing that, we're putting our laws in place. We just vote on the laws. We don't have to talk about doctrine at all, basically. I mean, because the doctrine um, only causes division, which is important. Division is important, but seeing eye to eye, according to the prophecy, says that Judah is going to see eye to eye. Now, there's a number of ways I could speculate that to mean, which is that they would see eye to eye based on money. They could see eye to eye based on the white man is the devil, or they could see eye to eye based on getting their nation uh, under control and enforcing the laws that we are supposed to be having in place. You see this? So we need to establish our laws. If it's written on paper, then it's true, according to the international standards. If it's written down and everyone is notified about it, then it's reality. So then we'll be a recognized nation automatically. Okay. Now, with those things in place, then we can get control of our nation. Uh, Tell everyone to that this is our land area here that we have to live in. That was allotted to us uh, based on our claim for land. Okay, so we have a claim for land in the United States. So we'll have our own state, or you might even call it a free trade zone or something like that, or it may be called a reservation. I don't know the title that they're going to place on it. Free trade zone is generally 50 square miles of property owned by foreign nations, and there are many of them in the United States. China owns a vast majority of them. Okay, but Russia, there's many other different countries that own free trade zones, FTZs. Look it up. All right, so that may be the title of our little nation, uh, or it may be called a reservation, or it may be called a state. I don't know. But if it's called a state, then it's under the jurisdiction of the United States, and we're not going to be under their jurisdiction. So a free trade zone is not under the jurisdiction of the United States, and neither is a reservation. So it may I don't know the title of it, but as we come together and have these meetings, we might have Google Hangouts and things like this in order to talk about these things and hash out the details and have votes. Have a regular meeting every Monday or every Sabbath with every major camp. All 40 or so schools can get on the Google Hangout and have these votes to put things in place one piece at a time. It takes time to build that type of thing. So, but it all starts with discussion and conversations, and then an orderly coming to an agreement on each issue, one piece at a time. All right. All right. So let's go to Division B: Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies. Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Department of Commerce. Title 2, Department of Justice. Title 3, Science. Title 4, Related Agencies. Title 5, General Provisions. Division C, Department of Defense Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1 is Military Personnel. Title 2 is Operation and Maintenance. Title 3 is Procurement. Title 4 is Research, Development, Test, and Evaluation. This is a big one. We need that type of plan in place to develop our science, our technologies. Okay. Title 5, Revolving and Management Funds. Title 6, Other Department of Defense programs, Title 7, related agencies, Title 8, general provisions, Title 9, overseas contingency operations, Title 10, military disability retirement and survivor benefit annuity restoration. Division D, Energy and Water Development and Related Agencies Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Corps of Engineers, Civil. Title 2, Department of the Interior. Title 3, Department of Energy. Title 4, Independent Agencies. Title 5, General Provisions. Okay, now I want to mention something here, which is when the Native Americans got their reparations to the tune of, what did they get? I think it was 25 billion dollars a year, I believe. They took the money and opened up over 250 casinos that they own and control today. Okay, so they're making $1 million a day per casino in profit. So that's $250 million per day of profit that is going to develop their nation. So they're building all types of schools and hospitals and things like that that don't have all these white racist magicians as paramedics and doctors and nurses and things like that. You see, so we'll have just godly minded medical personnel in our hospitals. We'll have godly minded school teachers in our schools, and just our nation would just be so wonderfully wonderful. I can't imagine. But I just wanted to mention that part right there because people imagine that this is an impossibility for African Americans, and they're also opposed to African Americans being repaid for our ancestors' free labor and persecution, which is completely baffles me. I can't comprehend why an Israelite would imagine that we should not, be entitled to these things. But I've gotten fussed out many times just for mentioning uh, payback and repayment for those atrocities by Israelites. Okay, Division E, Financial Services and General Government Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Department of the Treasury. Title 2, Executive Office of the President and funds appropriated to the President. Title 3, I want to mention something here. And Nazi does not mean prince. Nazi means president. But, I still call myself the Crown Prince of Israel because the Bible uses the word princes and priests and kings often. But Nazi actually means president. Title 3, the Judiciary. Title 4, District of Columbia. Title 5, Independent Agencies. Title 6, General Provisions. This Act. Title 7, General Provisions Government-wide. Title 8, General Provisions District of Columbia. Division F, Department of Homeland Security Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Departmental Management and Operations. Title 2, Security Enforcement and Investigations. Title 3, Protection, Preparedness, Response, and Recovery. Title 4, Research, Development, Training, and Services. Title 5, General Provisions. Division G, Department of the Interior, Environment and Related Agencies Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Department of the Interior. Title 2, Environmental Protection Agency. Title 3, Related Agencies. Title 4, General Provisions. Division H, Departments of Labor, Health and Human Services, and Education and Related Agencies Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Department of Labor. Title 2, Department of Health and Human Services. Title 3, Department of Education. Title 4, Related Agencies. Title 5, General Provisions. Division 1, Legislative Branch, Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Legislative Branch. Title 2, General Provisions. Division J, Military, Construction, and Veterans Affairs and Related Agencies Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Department of Defense. Title 2, Department of Veterans Affairs. Title 3, Related Agencies. Title 4, General Provisions. Okay, so I want to mention something here, which is that uh, the letter J was invented about 400 years ago. Okay, now our laws and strategies and plans that we're going to write down are going to be written in English, not Hebrew. So this incredible craze that you must know Hebrew and you must know how to write Hebrew and things like this, who's going to be able to read the laws and programs that we put in place? No one. So we're going to be speaking English, bro. And you telling me that I better learn Hebrew and things like this is only wasting my motherfucking time. I'm gonna just be frank with you. So I don't, what I'm saying, I don't study it as diligently as everyone else and don't need to know it at all. However, I do look up certain words for particular situations that bring clarity to the text. So we do need to learn Hebrew uh, for the purpose of comprehending the Bible more clearly, you know, more clearly, because the Hebrew words have 5 or 6, 4 or 5 definitions per word. So we would be able to clearly comprehend uh, even better than the translated, the near flawless translated version of the King James version. You see, but even those 72 or however many people he hired, those 72 linguists had a hard time translating. Even Josephus said that he had a hard time translating the Hebrew, and he was way back in time there. You know what I'm saying, with the Hebrew. So I can't see that being too big of a deal. You know what I mean? So you know I just can't. I just don't get why you would imagine that uh, whoever that dude name is, the dude that had that dream that says that Hebrew only has the letter A as vowels. That's the vowel sound. It's not only absurd, but I mean, come on. I ain't got time to even talk about that. So I'm gonna go on to the next. Okay, so this Division J is the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs and Related Agencies Appropriations Act 2014. So that's what, what I'm saying. We got to put all these programs in place, and they're not difficult to do at all, man. So, like I said, when you have experts on the Bible who all these schools, officers and generals are complete 100% Bible experts, their wisdom is out of this world, off the chain. So when you get the top officers who know nearly as much as them, then uh, and we look at these particular methods on how to maintain a nation, it won't take us long at all to see what is satanic the in the programs that they have, because these go into detail further down in this text. It's 639 pages. I'm just reading the index of the 639 pages, which is the summary of the 639 pages. So Title 1, Department of Defense, might have 50 or 60 pages talking about it. And when they talk about it, they have satanic mentality uh, placed into their development of any of these programs and departments. You know, so we're going to be able to spot that very easily and weed those out and uh, redefine them to the biblical standard. Okay, I hope that was clear. Title 1, Department of Defense. Title 2, Department of Veteran Affairs. Title 3, Related Agencies. Title 4, General Provisions. Division K, Department of State, Foreign Operations and Related Programs Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Department of State and Related Agency. Title 2, United States Agency for International Development. Title 3, Bilateral Economic Assistance. Title 4, International Security Assistance. Title 5, Multilateral Assistance. Title 6, Export and Investment Assistance. Title 7, General Provisions. Title 8, Overseas Contingency Operations. Okay, I'm going to stop here for now and go ahead and reissue the call. Oh, that was the last one. Title L. Division L. Okay, Division L, Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, and Related Agencies Appropriations Act 2014. Title 1, Department of Transportation. Title 2, Department of Housing and Urban Development. Title 3, Related Agencies. Title 4, General Provisions, this Act. Okay, so I'm going to reissue the call for, we have to set up a reoccurring weekly or however you want to do it. It could be daily if you want. But I know people are really busy during the week, so I don't know. But it would behoove us to have a hour or 2 hour meeting every day instead of having an 8 hour meeting once a week that may interrupt any other things that you have going on in your life. Like, for example, if we were to attempt to do this on the Sabbath for 8 hours, you already have classes going on all day during your Sabbath. You also have training going on, physical training going on all day during your Sabbath. So, I would say to spread it out for an hour or two every day. Late at night. Maybe 7 or 8 or 9. And then have it for like 2 hours, and then bring up, each segment of our nation one piece at a time. It's going to be a slow, long process, but it must happen. Also, it'll help us get other strategies together that'll be necessary for when the prophecies come into play. We can have everyone ready on their contingency plans, because each school should survive the Civil War, because we're not going to be involved in it until it gets out of hand. Then we're going to clean up the mess, and then we also may be relocated to the FEMA camps while the Civil War is going on. So you never know how this thing is going to play out. You know what I'm saying? There's different things, and we need to have contingency plans for the different scenarios that may happen in the future. Okay, I hope that was clear. All right, so when you deal with this, you can just get in contact with me. My Facebook is Davah Amiel Oz, DAVAHEMIELOZ. That's Davah Amiel Oz. Okay, and we can talk about setting up the meetings. We don't need but five people. So if only 5 people are in place on one accord, we can set these things up and focus our attention on these things in order to put them in place, in order to set up the elections and elect one head over us. So more than likely, one of the top schools is going to win that election. That's just only common sense to me. Somebody that has tons of fruit, somebody who has tons of biblical knowledge, they're going to be much more impressive than in the satanic world, where all you have to do is stand up there and lie all day, and whoever's the most popular wins. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for showing up again for another hopefully informative episode of Claim Your Inheritance. This is episode 21. I am your host, Nazir Deva Emil Oz Yasharal. Get in contact with me on Facebook. Share the video, like it. Sign this petition here to get ourselves reclassified nationally as Israelites, so that we will be taken more seriously on the national level. Because whenever something's written down like that and recorded, and the world is put on notice, then then it's true and it's believable and it's accepted, and the forms change. It's just like the gay movement, how they got the bathrooms changed to no gender and multi-gender and all that crap. And they're even trying to get the colleges to stop using he and she in colleges and schools and elementary schools and things like this. They already have planned lessons in place in the high schools and junior high schools during sex education, that and in elementary schools, that you are allowed to select your gender. So the only way that they accomplish these goals is that they got a lot of people together who would argue every day that they were together, argue face to face every day that they were together, but they just came up with a list of goals that they want to see happen, and by a number of people agreeing, which is all nothing but 100% gay people agreeing with them, which is a minority in this nation, just like we are a minority according to them. You see how this works? You just get a certain number of people that agree with your plan, then you present it, and they must do it. Anything you tell the government to do, or Satan to do, or anything of this nature, they must perform. That's just how they do. They just automatically do whatever you tell them to do. But you have to do it a proper way. You have to do it on paper. We can scream till we're blue in the face in the street, and they just won't care about anything. And that's why General Yohana had to go to the Supreme Court to defend our right to freedom of speech. He's the only principal of any school who was tried for his free speech and went to the Supreme Court and won. So now we're allowed to preach the Bible under free speech because of General Yohana. Now that's a big accomplishment, and he's going to be rewarded for that. So that's why I want these things to be very well known, and I want these things to happen. And the only way they can happen is if we have a certain number of people, or many people, or every Israelite on earth, or every Israelite in the United States that know they're Israelite, to be involved in the governing process. And the governing process takes time to build. You have to write things down. You have to vote on things. You have to argue about things. You have to iron out details and put it in place. And then you have to notify the governments of earth in order for them to take you seriously. Okay. So right now you're not being taken seriously because you still arguing about the name. You still arguing about when Joseph was born, and whether or not Joseph was Imhotep. You know what I'm saying? You still trying to figure out dumb stuff. What you need to be figuring out is how to be recognized as a wise nation according to the prophecy. And the way that happens is that we put our laws, iron out our laws, and how we're gonna, uh, which laws we're gonna keep and which laws we're gonna throw away. Are we still going to sacrifice two pigeon doves and things of this nature, or what? And then once those laws are in place, we got our constitution right there. We just write our constitution that we're free and we're a nation called New Jerusalem. And then we put the world on notice. We also have elections for our nation, and we also hire retired officers and retired army, retired military, and things of this nature in order to build our police force and then combat the fake police. We also have to put in a claim for a chunk of land in the United States until we either raise enough capital to all move to Telerod, uh, Bethlehem, or the city of David, or get uh, enough reparations, be awarded enough reparations for slavery in order to return back to our ancient homeland. Okay, so hopefully this helped. I'm just telling you portions of it because I condensed the show to 1 hour, and just so that people can, because people are so busy that they can't watch a whole 4 hour presentation. So that's me being new to this Hangouts. That's what I would do in the beginning. So once again, thank you for watching Claim Your Inheritance. I'm your host, Nazir Devine Oz Yasharal. I'm the Crown Prince of Israel, the keyboard warrior. I know what the Bible says to do, and I do it. You should too. Be blessed.